My association with Mount Etna started in 1973 when I joined the Italian-UK project to prepare a geological map of the volcano under the direction of Professor Alfred Rittmann, who was director of the Istituto Internazionale di Vulcanologia in Catania. Since that time, I've witnessed flank eruptions on Etna 1974, 1979, 1983, the southeast crater eruptions in the 1990s, and the flank eruption in 2001. So why is the eruption of 1928 destroyed Mascali so important? Well, first of all, it was one of the first major eruptions that was scientifically documented through the classical work of Professor Giuseppe Imbo. Secondly, it's one of the most destructive eruptions since the 1669 eruption that destroyed much of Catania. And thirdly, it was one of the first eruptions where there was an institutional response to the eruption, both during its event and in helping reconstruction. Well, Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. As we can see from this map, which shows in shaded format lavas that have been erupted since 1600, a significant part of the surface area of the volcano is covered by lava younger than 400 years. Here we can see the lava from 1669 that entered Catania. And what we're interested in is eruption 1928 that destroyed Mascali. So marked on in black are the lava flows for 1928. Here, the upper ones by Refugio Citelli, and from a lower vent, the lava flow that actually destroyed the town of Mascali itself. The reason for our study of this eruption was, first of all, we wanted to collect eyewitness accounts from people who were survivors of the eruption itself. And secondly, the last decade of the 20th century was designated by the United Nations as the International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. And we were particularly interested in doing a full evaluation of the impact of this eruption, both in the short term and also in the longer term with regard to the reconstruction and the building of the new town of Mascali itself. Our team consisted of David Chester and myself. We're involved in much of the field work and archival research. Chris Dibben, who did the interviews in Mascali itself, finding people who were survivors of the actual eruption. John Guest has been involved in mapping lava flows of Mount Etna since the late 1960s and provided input into understanding the nature of the eruption itself. And Phil Lister helped us with the political analysis, the follow-up, and the consequences of the eruption. Well, here we can see a map of the flow fields. This was the higher flow field erupted from near the Citelli, Refugio Citelli, situated here. Fissure opened up down the side of the volcano, and lava was erupted at a high rate, and rapidly the flow started speeding downhill towards the town of San Alfio. Fortunately, this phase of the eruption was very short-lived and stopped before the lava flow could progress any further downslope. However, the flow field here is well preserved and shows excellent features of lava which should be of interest to tourists and scientists alike who wanted a better understanding of the way in which lava is erupted and what the early phase of this eruption was like. A day after that vent ceased, a new vent opened up downslope on some fractures. A fault scarp called Ripidinaka opened up on the night of the 4th, 5th of November, and lava rapidly came out here and sped downslope, reaching a town of Mascali in under 48 hours. This lava was in place too quickly for there to be any form of intervention to try and divert or stop the flow field, as has happened in longer-lived, more recent eruptions in Etna. But the only thing that could be done was to evacuate the people of Mascali with as many of their possessions as possible, and that was done successfully. We produced 2 papers as a consequence of our research, one focusing on the eruption itself and the immediate impact, and a second paper looking at the rebuilding of the new town of Mascali in the context of the Mussolini regime of the time. Here we can see Ripidanaka, the vent area for this lower flow that destroyed Mascali, and it's still well preserved in this region. We can see the fault scarp here, another fault scarp just behind, at the foot of which the lava's issued. And yes, this would be an area that would be worth preserving and regulating any development, because there's many features here which are instructive and would be attractive to tourists and scientists alike. I was asked to say if there were any similar events elsewhere to the destruction of Mascali, and you only need to go up to Vesuvius in 1944 to see the eruption lavas that destroyed the town of San Sebastiano. Another example, 1977, from the volcano Nyiragongo in the Congo. Unusual here,